In 1982, I gave a talk at the John Hay Library on Christiana Cato Bannister. I was frightened to no end. I'd been falling in love with her for 2 years. And the 80 people in the room then, they were very impressed because of how little they knew. Now, if I gave that talk today, it would be so much better. Walter Stone and I were involved in an 11-year battle with Brown University to save the Bannister's house. Brown used it to store small refrigerators and damaged it all the time. It was dreadful. Finally, Bruce Simmons got the contract, signed the contracts at the very end of her presidency, and gave them a down payment so no one could reverse it. Ralph Dimmick and I, with the City Council of Providence, renamed a street in front of the Brown Faculty Club, named for a slaver. With me?
Yeah.
We have a half dozen streets in Providence named for slave captives. We have a school named for a slave captive. Now, we picked that street because only the Brown Faculty Club was on it. You can't change Oak Street for the Bannisters because 80 people live on the street and they will fight you. Now, one of the nicest things that ever happened to us in Providence, we have 100 of these crusades. I called the president of the Brown Faculty Club and I said, in 6 weeks you're going to go before the council and ask that this be named for Mr. and Mrs. Bannister. I hope you'll support us. He said, I've got to talk around, but I can't imagine we wouldn't. I'm a member of the Brown Faculty Club. I'm the only non-Brown faculty member who's a member. That's a long story. About a week later, I got my electronic newsletter. And it came from 2 Bannister Street. Are you listening? They jumped ahead of us, and renamed the street. That doesn't happen in Rhode Island. I'm serious. So never mind me. With Black Heritage Society, I led the effort to put 8 or 9 plaques on buildings that Gorham made. And you talk about struggle. Is that Gorham plaque too heavy for our building? It's unbelievable how we are not in the vanguard. Here the art club is. Here you are. 20 years ago, I chaired a commission to put a sculpture, a bust of Christiana Cato Bannister in the State House. It is one of the most stunning works you'll ever see. I've been in love with this woman for 40 years. My most popular in my brain quote, and it comes in 2 different ways. Feminist quote does not come from who you would think it would come from. It comes from Edward Bannister. Without her, I would have been nothing. Now, sometimes we get it twisted. Without her, I would have been nobody. It's the same. What a couple. What a powerful couple in the most difficult times in American history other than the time of slavery. And I'm crazy about this man because, and I tell this story real quickly and then I'm going to end with something very direct to you. For 30 years, I kept wondering how Bannister hung out with all these people, the elites. No other black people did. They weren't welcome in their house for dinner, certainly, unless they were serving. This is a racist state. 20, 30, 40 years out of slavery, as racist as Alabama. Black folks can't even work in the factories owned by the people they were slaves of. Because the factory has to be for Italians or Irish only. You can't even dream this up. One day, I'm walking home and I'm crossing First Baptist of America's yard. And I have to get a hold of the rail. I have my answer. Edward Bannister was not an American. He was Canadian. Canada at the time, the least racist white country in the world. And he walked with his head up. It would be almost impossible to stand on his back. That was Edward Bannister. I want to tell you, I'm chair of commission. I said I wouldn't do any more of these, but I'm chair of 2 of these. And then Nancy calls and I do this too. But I'm chair of the special commission. Remember, it works. And anything you want to do in terms of public statutes now, you must come before us in the final section. And of course, this is the best project to come. You look at the sketches and the design and the plans and art, and it is so fabulous. Then you look at the site. I won't tell you who suggested the site. Then you talk to the city and see on the level in which they're agreeing. And then you talk about what I'm going to talk to you about now. On that commission, I'm never voting yes for anything that doesn't have the funding. Because the commission looks like a fool, and the folks look rather foolish, not being able to come up with, their $200,000 or whatever it is. So they come in and we see the generosity. You see the generosity. And then later, POC comes along and you see the additional generosity. I once worked on one of these projects in 6th grade. That's how long I've been at this. And we raised $40,000 for an African elephant. Transport was half the money for the Detroit Public Zoo. And 3,000 school kids made it possible. I didn't have any money. I had to go out and get it from my aunts. Money. And I keep saying to Dan, wouldn't it be neat if 300 or 400 people donate? Donate. And then you can walk past and say, I made that possible. Now, whether it's $100 or $1,000, I would love to see that done for Mr. Bannister. That 300 people take some of their Starbucks money and pay for this sculpture. It's 80 plus the way there. Push it over the top. It would be marvelous, Nancy, if you called me next Monday and say that extra has arrived. Now I want complete silence. Complete. You ready? It's not a prayer. Can you hear him? Edward Bannister, walking on this sidewalk, past this building, this 1790 building. I have no clue if he ever went in. But he is going to 7 Thomas Street to hang out with 4 of his friends to talk about how to make the art club last for 100 years. Now that's all the ambition he had, 100 years. Edward Bannister did that for you. Now do something for him.